Now, earlier this year, my guest today came in to discuss a film they were making about pigeon racing. Well, guess what? That film is finished. Not only that, it's about to have a premiere and in another coup. See what I did there for Zetland FM. The lads are back to tell us all about it. I really wish I hadn't done that, but I did. A very good morning to directors Daniel John Williams, Ian Payne and executive producer Mark Delaunay. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here they all are, which is great. We've got two microphones, three people. It'll work. We always make it work on Zetland FM. Now, I'm in this film for people who don't know this. So before we come on to my starring role, remind us of the project's history, because Daniel John, I think it was your baby, wasn't it, really?
Well, it started during 2020, during the lockdown. I contacted Ian and said, hey, there's a guy that has a pigeon loft. Should we go and film him and just put out a 5-minute little documentary?
And Ian said, have you been drinking?
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
So we went along, we interviewed our first guy, and then realised that there was a much bigger world that we could explore. So Ian went away, edited the little 5-minute sort of interview that we'd made, and then it was like, oh, there's another guy, Ian, should we go and speak to this guy? And then there was another guy, and then there was like suddenly a community of people that I didn't even know existed. I mean, I knew that there was pigeon lofts, but suddenly it was like we were welcomed into their world, and now we have a feature-length documentary.
That's insane, isn't it? I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So, Ian, when you did that first bit of filming, did you immediately think, oh yeah, this has got mileage, or did you think?
Well, I certainly didn't think we'd end up with a feature-length film, because I normally make short films, so for me to kind of like put a 5-minute film together is something that I do, but then obviously this kind of like grew, and as Danny said, it was mainly because of the people that we met. The stories came in, and we were getting some great footage that looked good, and it was local, so it was relatively easy for us to do because we could just go out and do it. And sort of every now and again Danny would say, oh, there's another one, and we go out and get that. But then it's when it grew, and we found out more stories, and we did an edit at the beginning of last year that we were both very, very happy with, but then we kind of like thought, well, actually there are more stories out there to put in. And then before we knew it, sat in the edit suite at the beginning of this year, and it was kind of like, well, this is now feature length. It's like dare I say, a proper film.
With me in it.
Absolutely. The star.
Julie would be proud because she was in the mighty Redcar and I'm in home. Fantastic. Mark, executive producer. So when did you come into the mix then?
I came in, I started up a business with Daniel about a year and a half ago. And again, I just came in as this overview. And what I did, I kind of looked at it and went, is there an overarching narrative to this? That horrible media term of, oh, does this have legs? Hate that term.
Wings.
Or wings, yeah, sorry.
I am so... This is going to fly.
Oh, yeah.
Etc.
See, I'm really bad with the puns, sorry. And it was looking at that, and for me, it was something that was culturally significant, and it's one of these testaments to Northeast culture. It wasn't really about... I saw it wasn't really about pigeons, and I think they maybe couldn't see the pigeons for the trees or the wings or whatever initially, and then we all took that step back and went, oh, hang on, wow, look at all these stories, look at the significance of all that, and then it literally dovetailed in. There you go.
Good.
There's one.
Good.
Thanks.
This is good.
Sorry,
going great.
I apologise completely. And we just kind of went, oh, it's what Ian said. There are so many stories to tell, and it wasn't about the pigeons. I mean, I didn't know anything about pigeons, and it fascinates me.
I was going to say, I presume none of you did.
No.
Oh, next to yeah.
I still don't.
You knew.
3 years later, and I'm still like, what are you talking about? But no, absolutely. We went in blind, but actually that was kind of a good thing, because then we didn't go in with a narrative. We weren't trying to crowbar stories. They were presented to us in very organic, natural ways down at the lofts with the lads. And, I jokingly say, like, oh, they've become really good friends of ours. I hope it's mutual and it's not just us thinking we've made a lot of friends. But actually, that is what it became. You know, we went down. Sometimes we'd go down. Ian and I would travel to wherever it was. We'd have a cup of coffee, and a couple of hours later, we haven't even filmed anything. We've just been talking and catching up and finding out that someone's now got a partner, or the partners have ended, or someone's in hospital, or whatever it was. And then we started to get really involved in it.
So you become part of that community, even though you're not flying the pigeons, but you get speaking to the people within that community. Like any community, there can be a little bit of distrust for outsiders coming in, and especially if they're wielding cameras and stuff like that and saying, "Oh, we're going to tell you a story." They've got to trust you. So how does that work?
That is quite interesting, because there is a character. I don't want to give it away because it's in the film, but this guy, he was always friendly with us, but whenever we brought the cameras out, he would always kind of like find an excuse to nip behind a shed. He didn't particularly want to be on camera. And it probably was like almost 2 years into it, because we've been making this for a while, that he then started chatting to us. And his interview, which is probably one of the last full-length interviews that we did, is probably, to me, the highlight, because we'd connected with this guy. And he kind of like said, right, I now trust you. You can come to my home and film, and we can talk, which was brilliant. And it was that thing of pigeons that brought it all together.
So where did you go then? Which was it? Any specific club or?
We started with Redcar Central Flying Club, which the people there have just been incredible. But from that, the pigeon community is so massive, but it's like we had to travel to like Blackpool, we had to travel to Derby, we went to Tudor, but they all know each other. They are all in touch with each other in some shape or form. So yes, we started there, but it just got bigger and bigger as time went on, and I feel very lucky for them to have welcomed us in. There was one lad I'll never forget. I kept asking the same question, but in a different way every time we turned up, because I thought maybe we could squeeze a little, not a different answer, but just see if we can get a different sound bite. And he pulled me to one side and he was like, "You keep asking me the same question," and you could just see the little uncertainty of why does he keep asking. But then when he's seen the film, last year.
What was the question?
Oh, there's so many questions. Like, how do you train them? What's the secret?
Yeah.
Well, how do you raise them? How do you keep them? And it's like, you've got to be careful, because these lads have passed down traditions for years.
Yeah.
And sometimes the lads would say, "Can we not have this bit on camera? Because I don't mind telling you, but I don't really want to tell you my method."
And that's where the trust comes in, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So have they been seeing some of the stuff that you've done all the way through, or have they seen any of it, or how does that work?
Well, we did an edit at the beginning of last year, which we were very, very proud of. But as I say, the new film is very different. The new film, if anything, is a bit of Danny's story as the producer. It kind of like follows him finding other stories and things. So it's another piece to hang the film onto. But I mean, they've seen the preview that's out there on the website, and they've seen this first edit, but they haven't seen the full length one, and they certainly haven't seen some of the stuff that we shot in Derby and Tudor. So it's going to be very interesting for them to see the full length film. But we went back there a couple of weeks ago to do a photo shoot for the poster, and they were great. They were kind of like,
Is this the one I'm looking at on the website? They're all
yes.
Is that the one that looks like Calendar Girls too?
It's something like that. They look characters, shall we say?
Oh, yes.
But it just screams atmosphere, that picture, which is brilliant. I mean, Mark, as it's progressed, what have your thoughts been as you've seen from the initial idea to as the lads produce this stuff?
I've seen it expand. I've seen it have its own life. When you do documentaries, you normally kind of write it beforehand and you shoot to the script in reality.
If you do it the proper way.
If you do it the right way, yeah. But in essence, they because it's been that organic, it's expanded out into something really special. And what my job's only been to kind of almost be a harbour pilot, because they they've got this massive ship that's sailing across the sea. I'm looking out the sea now. And what I've done, I've just kind of gone, oh, maybe course correct there and do that.
Right.
And then, now we're safely into harbour. And
I guess I suppose you're a little bit more detached than the two, than Ian and Daniel John. You're a little bit more detached, so you can see it with those eyes.
I try and balance things out. I try and referee the fights. But no, the disagreements and everything else, there always are. But it's the same as I love the fact that when these guys went in, I shot a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it was the trust that was there. And some of the guys, I think, was it Paul? I can't remember who it was, who basically said all the pigeon lofts and the pigeons themselves, it's like a soap opera. And I literally went, my God, it really is. And then he started talking about the national, kind of federations, and then international, and it expanded out, and you suddenly go, what? There's $1 million race in South Africa. What are you talking about? What? Some Chinese person, paid over $1 million for a pigeon? Why? And suddenly you go, oh, hang on, this does really, really, take flight, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
it is a massive thing, isn't it? I mean, were you surprised?
Really
were you surprised how big? You kind of knew about there was a pigeon racing fraternity, but were you surprised how big it was?
Oh, absolutely. I like it. It was meant to be originally about tumblers.
Yeah,
we were going.
And we haven't got any tumblers.
We've got no tumblers in the film, so if you're wanting to see tumblers, don't watch this film.
Tumblers?
It's where the pigeons fly into the sky and then fall out of the sky. And there's a lot of talk of why
right.
We don't know why they do it. Are they flirting? Are they practicing for something?
Are they just rubbish?
Are they just rubbish at flying? Exactly. So that was meant to be what we were going to go on film, and then we ended up speaking to Dave, and he was like. Well, no, we don't have tumblers. We have racing pigeons, and it was like suddenly it was wow. This whole world opened up before us, and we've got to pursue this for them, because we could see that it was a declining sport, and that their passion was keeping this sport alive, which is one of the lines in the film. So I'm just totally stealing that, but it's true, and. What became a passion project for us was also a passion project for them, and then together it was like we've got to finish this film for them. As much as for us, so that we can try and get the word out there about how wonderful this sport can be for men and women, but for people that just need to get out of their house and doing something with other like-minded people on a sport that isn't so widely recognised and known, but it could be and it should be, because it's really good.
I think one of the things there as well was that it does bridge over age gaps, because we saw a lot of granddads and dads and their sons taking this sport up and doing it, and because it's maybe a diminishing sport, but it is an important one. I found it amazing that it was bridging those age gaps so well, and you're teaching tradition, but you're also teaching responsibility. And the chap who went into the schools as well, John, the kids' questions were incredible. And I think they're in the film, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we filmed at a school in Gisborough, and we went in there, and he basically went in there and told the kids about the pigeons. And what the great thing is at the end of the session, he then goes out and lets the pigeon go, because he doesn't live very far away. And the pigeon homes, it gets home, and the kids are kind of like, oh yeah, it's got home, so they can actually.
It is
see
extraordinary.
It
Now, I'm talking to Daniel John Williams, Ian Payne, and Mark Delaunay about Home, a film about love, passion and pigeons. I love that. That's really nice. That sums it all up, doesn't it, really? So it's in the bag. It's finished. What happens now? We got a gala night, haven't we?
We do, and you're coming. We hope you're coming.
I'm coming. Yeah.
We have a screening at ARC next week for the cast, crew, and contributors. So anybody that contributed to the film, no matter how big or small, even if they just gave us a telephone number.
You can tell the listener about my contribution. It's not much, is it? Really?
But it's incredible. You allowed us into the studio to film, and it has made it into the film. It's quite an important part of the film, because it's the next layer of our evolution.
Well, it's about community. It's what we do as well, and
that's right.
That's the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's done. You're going to do next week, and then what happens? Because we want more people to see this, don't we?
We do.
We do.
We do. That's what we want.
Yeah, I think what happens next is the film starts to have a life of its own in terms of it'll go to festivals. It's been put in for Royal Television Society awards and things like this because it's an incredibly well made film, regardless of budget and everything else. And then after that, you then gain interest from trying to get more people to see it, and some of that interest has come from America, distributors out there, and also certain streaming companies as well that I'm not going to name.
I think we can kind of guess possibly.
Yeah, you might be able to guess quite easily, to be honest. But that's come about through that particular streamer having a film about racing pigeons in Arizona or whatever, and it was the producer and the director who contacted us and said, I'd really love to see your film, and then from there that's gone forward towards a streamer. And you think, wow, that's really opened doors, which that whole serendipity thing.
But of course it's about pigeons, but it's not about pigeons, is it? And that's what runs through the film. I'm guessing that's what you hope to hang it on. That's what will appeal to people. It's about a passion, it's about communities, it's about people, basically.
And people can go to the website.
Oh yes,
homedocumentary.net.
You remembered that, Ian. Well done.
Well done.
That's why we're here.
I'm reading it.
So anybody that's interested in seeing the film in the new year, if they get onto the website homedocumentary.net and just type in their email address, they'll be added to the mailing list, and then we can start sending out emails to let people know.
And we have also been approached by independent theatrical cinema distributors in the Northeast now. So
I was going to say, might people be able to see it around here eventually?
So it's definitely something that we're going to sort out, because this is its kind of like natural home before it flies away to broader things. I'm on that one now. But that's it. That when we share it next week, it's going to be seen by the people that are in it and a couple of other people as well. So that's going to be brilliant. But I also think, I kind of like the idea that people are going to see it or think about it after this radio piece, and when they see a whole load of pigeons flying in the air, which we all do when we're driving to and from places, I wonder where the loft is for that one. I wonder where they're going. I wonder what they're practicing. So, yeah.
And what do you hope the pigeon fanciers get from it?
For me, I just hope that they feel that the 3 years we've been hanging out with them was worth it. I hope they get more people joining their clubs. I hope that the sport somehow just finds another heartbeat. If that new people join the sport, maybe that something happens where they're not leaving something behind as something that once was, but rather something that can be. For me, I think that's really what they want from it. Apart, as well as being on TV and being on a big screen, I think really what they're after is passing down the gauntlet. They want to pass it on to new people. And if this film can help, it's said in the film by Jed, the vice president of Redcar Central Flying Club, is like, if we can get one person that watches this documentary to join, that's a good thing. But we want more than one. We want, hundreds or thousands of people to join. It would be amazing.
Yeah. Gents, it's been great to see you. Thanks so much, and thanks for getting us involved as well. Absolute pleasure. Mark, you like what you see?
Yeah, I think it's it's got wings, and hopefully more people will get to see it, because it is significant, and it's a testament and a monument to the whole of the Northeast and the country, to be honest. So
we're going to stop now before any more puns escape the net. Thanks, guys.